Welcome back to Let's Automate It, automation AI for non-techies. And today we're diving into WhatsApp. By the end of this video, you are going to be able to use this funky looking workflow that I've got on my screen now. It's kind of broken down into small parts. Let me make it slightly bigger. By the time we're finished here, you're going to have your very own API WhatsApp server connected to N8N, so you can automate your own WhatsApp for groups, WhatsApp for your customers, WhatsApp for your clients without messing around with the Meta official WhatsApp API. This is going to unlock the power of N8N and automation onto WhatsApp so you can actually manage your life. I'm going to show you how to do it. By the end of today, you're going to have this completely set up and know how to run this by yourself. Let's get set up straight away, and I'm going to show you what this is all about. So I've put on the canvas here a couple of the steps we are going to work through. Steps 1 to 9. This is not overly complicated. If you're not techie, follow along with me. Some things may appear slightly technical, but really they're not. Just follow along step by step, and you can get this set up. And for the most part, these steps are really well exploded out so that there's actually not too much work to do. But the process we're going through is, first and foremost, we need to set up our own virtual private server, our own little server in the sky. That's where our WhatsApp API is going to live. If you're not sure what I mean by WhatsApp API, you will shortly. Stick with me to the end of this video. It's going to be worth it. We then need to configure some DNS records so that it's easy to access our VPS. And once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and run a simple script. I've got the script right here, and that's going to do all the heavy lifting for us and install the entire service for us. We're going to then do some configuration steps, and finally we're going to connect it to N8N so we can start automating. So where's all this coming from? Well, I want to introduce you to Devlike Pro. This service here, WAHA, WAHA.devlike.pro. This was introduced to me by one of our community members over in the Let's Automate It community. Definitely, if you want to think about jumping in and joining our community there, we've got some really good stuff going. But check out this project. This is a project that is an unofficial WhatsApp API that lets you do so many things. Now, their documentation is excellent. They've got built-in dashboards. As you can see, they're even configured directly to work with N8N, and they've got very simple setup instructions to run your WhatsApp API server locally on your local machine. But here at Let's Automate It, we prefer running things on VPS. So we've taken this documentation and we've pushed a little bit further, and I've built for you an entire script that you can just run with a single command that's going to install this service directly onto a VPS for you so that you can have easy access to it from your N8N with no issues about machines being offline or firewalls and the like. So we're going to get stuck into how to do that in a moment. But let's go back over to our canvas and have a look at our steps. So the first thing we need to do is set up our virtual private server. Now, I must apologize. I haven't given you a demo of this service right up front. Stick with me. It's going to be worth it. You're going to want to see this through to the end because the demo doesn't make sense too much until you've actually seen these steps. So a bit of a dry start, but if you're a WhatsApp user, if WhatsApp dominates your life, if it dominates the life of your customers, this is the answer. Stick with us. So the first thing we're going to do here is set up VPS. Now, our favorite tool is DigitalOcean. And in the link of this video, you're going to find a link over to DigitalOcean. If you use our link, yes, we get a little bit of credit for it, but you're going to get $200. Yes, you heard right, $200 of free credit over at DigitalOcean. So definitely use that. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm just going to, by the way, just Google DigitalOcean and the link's in the video description. So I'm going to head over here and we're going to create a droplet. Once you've created an account, you can come through and you're just going to head over to Droplets, come into this, and you're going to go and hit create a droplet. So I've hit this create button already. It's brought me to this screen, and I'm just going to set up a droplet here. Follow these steps. I'm choosing London. Choose an area closest to you geographically. You want to choose Ubuntu here. This version is absolutely fine. You want to choose a basic CPU, and let's go into regular SSD to keep the prices down. Now, I tested with different size servers with this service, and I was trying to run it on the smallest server possible, but I was running into issues here. Maybe there's some streamlining I could do if I understood tech a bit more, but I've actually gone with this 2 gig RAM server, and that seems to be the most stable. So that's the one I recommend to you. Yes, it's going to cost you $12 a month, but if WhatsApp is a big factor in your life, it's going to be worth it. So let's go ahead and select that one. You can do automatic backups if you like, but on our channel, we actually show you how to back up DigitalOcean droplets for free. This will cost you a tiny bit of money, and it's probably worth it if you don't want the hassle. I'm going to set up some SSH keys onto this, but we won't actually use it. If you don't know what this is, don't worry. You can leave this blank and just choose password, set a password, or go right past that. Yes, we're going to add metrics. There's no problem there. Let's just give this a name. I'm going to call this Waha tutorial. That's just the name of our droplet, and we're going to go ahead and create this. So this is going to create a virtual machine in the sky for us, and it's busy running at the moment. There we go. It's done. Our new machine has spun up. There it is. There's its IP address. Now, why are we doing this again? We're building a computer in the sky, a virtual private server, so that we can install the unofficial WAHA WhatsApp API server onto this server so that we can talk to it via N8N, and essentially we're hijacking, in the nicest sense of the word, the WhatsApp desktop features that's going to bring the power of WhatsApp desktop to our server and therefore to N8N. That's what we're doing. Now, we need to do a step here that's slightly technical, so hang in here with me, but we need to go and set up a subdomain and point the subdomain to this IP address. That's just so that we can access this server with a simple name of a website rather than having to type in this code every time. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. You'll do exactly the same. Now you're going to go over to wherever you've registered your domain. You may have a domain for your website. You may have several domains that you registered, and we're going to create a subdomain of that, and that's where we're going to point all our traffic to, and it's ultimately going to be redirected over onto this DigitalOcean droplet that we've set up. So go and copy your IP address, and then head over to wherever you host your website. Now, for me, that's going to be GoDaddy. So I'm going to jump over to GoDaddy here. And let's find my GoDaddy dashboard. There it is. I've logged into my GoDaddy dashboard. You're looking for something called DNS Records, and you want to add a new record. This is what you're after. Whatever service you're using, it might be slightly different, or ask your host to help out. But here now, I'm adding a new record. I want to add a record. It's important. We're going to give it a name. Let's call it Waja Tutorial. And depending on your service, you may need to type in the rest of your domain, whatever your domain name is. For GoDaddy, you don't need to. You just type that in. And then here for value, we're going to put in that IP address that our server has, and we're going to add the record. Now, the reason we're doing this right up front is this takes a little bit of time to propagate. That's what they call it, propagate, for all the servers around the world to pick up this information and refresh their servers. If you're doing this for the first time with a brand new server, it's almost instant, but we want this running while we do the next steps. So just follow along. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, just do exactly the same here. By the way, this name can be anything, the name of your dog, doesn't matter what it is, but it's just going to be what you type in. So I'll be typing in wahatut.maxipro.co.za, because maxipro.co.za is the service, the domain at least, that I am connecting my DigitalOcean droplet to. So with that being done, let's get back over now into our dashboard here, and we have now set up our VPS, and we have configured our DNS records. Our next step here is to access our VPS and run the install command. Now, the install command, let me highlight it here. I have done all the heavy lifting for you. You can cut and paste this command, and it is going to install the entire service for you and ask you a couple of questions that you'll need to answer as you go. You don't need to be technical at all. So I'm actually going to go ahead now, just click into this, and I'm going to copy all of that. And I'm going to go back over to my DigitalOcean here, and I'm going to click into this server that I've just set up, this droplet. I'm going to click here into access, and I'm going to go launch droplet console. Now, if you're familiar with terminal and using SSH keys, you may want to go that route. That's absolutely fine. But for non-techies, this is going to be the simplest route. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to go and connect to the droplet, and essentially now you are in the user interface now of your Droplet, and all you're going to do now is paste in those commands that you've got from DigitalOcean. By the way, these commands are more than likely going to be in the description of the video down below. So no gated, just go and grab it. And it's going to start running, and it's going to ask you a couple of things. So it's going to say here, before proceeding, ensure your chosen subdomain is set up. So we've done that. That was adding the DNS record, so we can just hit enter. There we go. Now we've got to enter the subdomain, so I'm just going to put that in. There we go. It's entered. Hit off we go. Okay, now it's asking us for an email address for your Let's Encrypt notification. That's to get your SSL to secure the server. So you can just put in your email address. I'm going to stick in my Gmail account here. And now, very, very important here, it's given us a set of credentials. It's given us these credentials. We need to make sure we copy those credentials and keep them secure. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. I'm just going to grab hold of these, and let's just copy them because I will need them later. We will just create a new little notepad here and paste our details in. There we go. We're going to need those. That's important. Let's come back over to our console here, and now we can hit enter to continue the installation. Remember, we're installing right now. We're installing this WAHA Devlike Pro. Thank you to the WAHA team. We're installing their unofficial. I want to stress this is unofficial. This is not supported or sanctioned at all by WhatsApp. We are using WhatsApp desktop, and this process is now going to run. It's going to go through a whole bunch of steps. You don't have to worry about what's going on. It's installing all the updates your server needs, all the packages, the libraries. It's going to take care of security. It's going to take care of absolutely everything for you. At the end of this, you're going to have your very, very own WhatsApp API server that you're going to be able to connect directly to N8N and automate your entire or your customer's entire WhatsApp process. And there we go. It's done. Now, by the power of editing, I've jumped through that, but that's could take up to 2-3 minutes depending on the speed of your server. And again, we can now see the very important credentials that you need to hang on to, because these are going to be needed to access both your server as well as to help us configure our N8N to talk to that your server that you've set up. But that's done. That is the most technical part of this entire process. Well done if you've achieved that. The rest is a lot simpler now. So let's get out of this. We no longer need to be in here, and let's come back over to our notes over here, and let's just see where we're at. We've just set this up, and we have now successfully run this command, and our server is set up. So the next step now is to add our API key to our brand new server. So let's go check out our server. Here we go. Moment of truth. I'm doing this live. I will be accessing this server for the first time live with you here on this call. And let's see what we get here. All right, we've got some credentials to log into here. So this one, we've got very, very simple. The username is password, and so the username is admin, and the password is admin as well. Just remember that admin. This is just to access the API credentials of this. Not the API credentials, sorry. This is just to access some of the information that we will be able to use to better understand this service. So here it is. These are all the endpoints that we can get to. Now, I'm not going to dive into this. If you're technical, you're going to love this. You can have a look and see at all the things that you can now do with this service. So if you're a technical person, search, navigate till your heart's content. What we want to go to here is the dashboard. That's the most important part. So we're going to click over now into the dashboard. And now here, the username is going to be admin, and then the password is going to be the password we were given when we set this up. So let's go have a look at those notes. And as you can see here, the username is admin, and here's the dashboard password. So go ahead and grab that. So you're going to copy that, come back over into your browser here, and we're going to pop this in and sign in. And here we are. We're busy accessing your very, very own WhatsApp unofficial API server. Here it is. We're in. This is our dashboard. Fantastic. Well done. If you've got to this point, you are doing remarkably well. Let's head back over to here and see where we're at. So now we're at step 4. Add the API key to the WhatsApp server. So we need to go and get our API key. Guess what? We've got it already. It's right here. There it is. There's our API key. So let's just go and grab hold of that. Just copy that. Head back over here now to our server. And where is it hiding? Here is our server here. And now what's important, what we need to do here is we need to edit this worker. We need to use this button here. We need to edit this worker because as you can see, we currently don't have a connection. There's these little red X's are telling us it's not working. So let's go edit worker. And what we want to put in here is our API key. So we're just going to paste that in there and we're going to hit save. So we might need to put in our credentials again for this dashboard. So let's just grab those credentials once more. And now we can see we have green ticks. Our worker, I'm not going to explain exactly what this is. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but there's some critical part that the Devlike Pro team has built. So now we have green ticks. So we know this is working at the moment. So we have this set up. That's fantastic. All right. So keeping with our incremental process, let's go ahead and check back here. So we have now added the API key. Now it's time to work inside of N8N. Now, I should have mentioned this right at the top of the video, and you've come this far. I do apologize that this is going to affect you negatively. We need to use community nodes for WAHA community, for the WAHA connection with N8N. If you're using the cloud-hosted version of N8N, while they have released a lot of community nodes, they haven't released the WAHA community nodes yet. And I'm not sure if they will, given that this is an unofficial WhatsApp API. So you need to be on the self-hosted version of N8N in order for this to work. So my apologies if that's not the case, but you need to go and install now your WAHA community nodes. Pretty straightforward. Come down here to the 3 dots. Head into settings and just save our results there. Okay, let's try that again. Or is it going to take me there automatically? Okay, then we want to come down into community nodes here. Now, of course, I've got them installed already. So this step is already done. You can see them right here. But if you're going to do them for yourself, you're going to hit this install button. You are going to just make sure you, whoops, you don't have to understand that. You're just going to go hit here to browse and go and browse the little library of what you're looking for. And I think if we just type in the words WAHA and hit search, here we get the nodes we want. So we now want to go and grab hold of that phrase there. And that's the phrase we're after. And I see there's some interesting ones. WAHA Future, great. There's been some developments. I see some other people have put things in here, but this is the latest one. This is the one I like. So I'm going to just grab hold of that, head out of here. And now in here, now you're going to paste in that name like I've done there. And you're just going to install these. Now it's probably going to give me an error because I already have them. There we go. Okay, so I've already got these installed, so it's not going to work for me, so I don't need to go ahead to do that. But once you've done that step that I've just done, you are going to have, like I've got here, a list of the tools that you're after. With that being done, we can go back into our workflow. You can come under your notes here under your elements and type in WAHA, and now you should have two new triggers in here. This little cube tells me it's a community node, and we've got some WAHA triggers, and we've got some WAHA actions. So that's what that is all about. So congratulations if you've got that far. You're doing very, very well. Let's zoom in a little bit again so that we can follow along with the notes that we've got here on the screen, making this step by step, which makes it far easier to follow along. So we have now added those community nodes, and now we need to go and set some N8N WAHA credentials for this. So I've already got some set up here, but I'm going to just make it easy for you guys, and I'm just going to do a search for WAHA over here, and let's just go and grab, let's just get that out of the way. We can grab anything we want here. Let's just go to send a text message. All right. So that's come on now, and now we need to set up our credentials. That's all we're doing here at the moment. So it's going to come down here. I've obviously got credentials already set up, but I'm just going to create new credential for the sake of this. Okay, the host URL is going to be the URL of the server you just set up. So we're going to change that now to HTTPS, because we do have security on that. We're going to go to WAHA tutorial maxipro.co.za. That's what we're after over here. I'm just going to rename this so I can recognize these credentials. I'm just going to call them tutorial, and let's go grab our API key. Of course, I will be deleting all of this before this video goes live, so this API key will be useless to you. So please don't go to the trouble of trying to grab it to do nefarious tasks, please. And we'll just pop that in here and hit save. And if that all works successfully, you're going to get your green tested successfully. You now have your credentials that you can use with WAHA. So that has been done. Let's go back over to our little notes here. And now we can see where we're at. We have set N8N WAHA credentials for N8N. So our server is set up and N8N can now talk to our server. Fantastic. Okay, next step here is we need to add a webhook to the WAHA dashboard. What am I talking about here? Well, let's have a look here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And you can see I've got this really funky looking node here on the canvas. This really, really funky looking node. This is the Waja Trigger node that WAHA has built for us as a community node for our N8N. So if you go over here and you just again type in WAHA and you're going to go to Waja Trigger, there's only the one here, Waja Trigger, and that's what you're going to pull onto the pull it on, and you're going to end up with this node right here. Now, what we need to get here is double click into this. This node behaves slightly differently, and you're going to want to go and get a webhook URL over here. Click into this. And we're going to just choose the production version of this URL here, and you are going to go and copy this. So just copy this. Don't use the test one. Use the production one so we don't have to muck around with it again later. Go ahead and copy that webhook URL. Okay, and now we're going to head back over to our dashboard for WAHA over here, and we're going to go into configuration over here. Click into configuration. We're going to add a webhook. And now under webhook here, we're going to paste this in here. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Okay. Anytime there's an action in our WhatsApp account, we haven't connected our WhatsApp account to it yet, but anytime there's an action, we want that action, that incoming message, some activity in our WhatsApp account, we want it to be sent over to our N8N via webhook. That's what this is doing. So you've got lots of events you can choose from. Please choose anyone you want, but I have been testing and these are the only two I have needed up to now. So keeping it simple. I've also dropped the attempts right down here because I was having some server resource issues when I first started playing with this. So I just dropped this down so it doesn't keep trying over and over again. You may understand this better than me and you can play with this. Okay, but let's go ahead and update this now. It's going to update it, and now we have our webhook connected. That has been done. It's important you do this in this order that I've done now just to make your life easier. You can change the order, but things get a little bit complicated. I'm not going to get into why. Just follow along. We are a channel ideally for non-techies, so I will assume that is where you're sitting at the moment. So what have we done here? We have now added the N8N webhook to the WAHA dashboard, and now it's time to connect our WhatsApp account to WAHA. All right, so this is going to be fairly straightforward. It's the same as using WAHA as a WhatsApp desktop. Let's go back to our dashboard. Here we are. We're in our sessions. By the way, there are several versions of WAHA. There is I think there's two basic versions, actually, not several, two versions. There's the core version. That's what we're using now. It's free to use. It has some limitations, not too many. And then there's the Pro version, which has some of those limitations removed. Right now, we've been working with the core version, the free version up to now. We'll do videos on the Pro version in the future. But one of the limitations of the free version is you can only have one session at a time. You can see we're working in sessions here. And a session basically considers that to be one account connected to your dashboard at any one time. And it always has this name default. We can't change that. In the Pro version, you can have multiple sessions. That basically means multiple numbers connected to this, and you can manage multiple WhatsApp accounts in one setup. That the core version, we can only do one at a time, and it's important to remember it's called a default. Okay, with that being said, we now want to go ahead and start this. And what this is going to do is give us the chance to scan a QR code and connect our telephone number, our WhatsApp number to this service. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to click start. All right, and you can see here it says it is starting. All right, and then we're going to click this little camera icon over here, which is the screenshot or the QR code, and we're going to click that. But you're just going to want to wait until this is ready for you. Scan QR code. You can see it's now in that mode. It's waiting for us. So we're going to go ahead and click onto that. And here we go. You can see now I have the option to scan my phone into this. So I'm going to do this now. This is a manual step I'm doing with my phone in my hand. So I can't show you it, but it's very straightforward. Go ahead and open your WhatsApp. In the top right-hand corner of your WhatsApp, depending on the operating system, there's probably 3 dots, or go into your WhatsApp settings. There'll be something called linked devices. If you've ever set up WhatsApp desktop, you'll know what I'm talking about. You want to go ahead and link a device. You may have to go through a security check, and that's going to open your camera. Then you can scan this QR code with your camera, and that should trigger a logging in service. Now, on some rare occasions, I've had to repeat this a couple of times in order to get this to connect, but invariably it happens first time. So that's what's happening right now. On my phone, I'm looking at a login screen. It has been successful, it seems. Now I'm going to refresh this little image at the top here. And there we can see it's busy loading my chat. This is my personal WhatsApp. This can take some time if you're doing it for the very first time. It may take a while to sync up all your chats. If you've ever used WhatsApp desktop, as I said a couple of times, this will be an experience you are familiar with. So it's busy going through that process at the moment. And by the power of editing, we will jump ahead. But you can just refresh this every now and again, and just to see what's going on. And ultimately what we're after here is to see, there we go, we want to see that we have got access to our WhatsApp account. And as you can see it, we have it at the moment. Let's X out of that. And what are we seeing here? We can now see that my account is set up. We've got my name and such like in here. We can see that it is working, and we're actually done here. To be honest, there is nothing more we need to do here. We can now focus completely on working in N8N and not have to worry about this at all ever again. However, if things disconnect, you may have to come back and repeat some of these steps, but that is now working. Let's go over to N8N, have some fun with some automations. This is where we're at. So with no further ado, let's go over and do that. So let's just zoom out a little bit and have a look at the 1 or 2 basics that I've got set up already. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, and we're just going to come and have a look at this workflow. Now, these are the building blocks. I'm going to walk you through this. Now, the goal of today is not actually to show you fancy automations. In fact, I'm still figuring out the best use case to use N8N and WhatsApp to control WhatsApp and automation. So just want to inspire you guys out there to take this and run with it and let me know what you're doing. But what have we got going on here? Well, essentially here we've got this trigger node, which is capturing a webhook that's coming in. So when a new message comes in, this is going to capture it. Then we need to look at this data pack that comes in with this webhook. And then I'm using here a switch node to kind of just have a look at the data that's coming in and to see, is it coming from this person, from that person, the next person, or a group, or whatever it is. And then depending on that, I can route it to various things. I've got an AI agent sitting here that we can get involved. And we've got some Waja triggers where we can, send on actions. But to be honest, The moment we can get WhatsApp information inside of N8N, which comes in from this trigger, we can then unleash the full power of N8N on this. So we can have an incoming webhook and we can send a notification to somebody else. We can send it to an AI in order to craft a response to ourselves. We could update an Airtable, update a Google Sheet. We could trigger an email. We could fire off a message into a Telegram. It's unlimited what we can do here. We're limited only by our creativity, and we're limited only by what N8N will let us do and our skill with N8N. But let's just get the basics here. So I've activated this as live. You need to do this because we've actually, remember we went and put the webhook URL in here and we added it to our server and we used the production webhook, which means this needs to be active and live for this to work. So why don't we go ahead now and let's send ourselves a WhatsApp. So I've connected my personal WhatsApp account. So I'm going to send in another WhatsApp using a different WhatsApp account. And I've got one set up here. This is one of my business accounts. And here, this tester account is me. So I'm just going to go there. Hi, Rob. How are you doing today? Let's get some spelling correct. And I'm just going to send that over. And if I go look at my WhatsApp, that should come into my WhatsApp. Wait for those ticks to turn blue. I'm not sure if they are going to turn blue. I've got to read it first. So let's open up my WhatsApp. And here we have it. There is our WhatsApp coming in. And you can see the message right there. Rob, how are you doing today? Okay. So that should have fired the webhook that's sitting on our WAHA WhatsApp unofficial API server. So let's go have a look now at our N8N board here. And if I go into executions, we should see an execution coming in here on the side here showing that this is working. And here we can see it has come in, because if we look here, let me zoom in here, we can see we've got a little green tick here. So if I click into this, we can see we have got some information coming in here. So we need to now break down and understand this information a little bit. So I'm going to short circuit this for you, and I have figured this out already. The information that we really wanted to know, we want to know this little from variable, and we want to know the body of the message. Those are the most important things that we need to use. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to copy this JSON. I'm going to copy this JSON right here. Now remember, I'm in the editing mode. So go into your editor, send yourself a message, go and copy this JSON, all right, by clicking that icon. Then go back into your editor. Now, normally inside a trigger node, you've got a pencil icon here where you can paste in the data. Now, for some reason, the Waja Trigger node doesn't have this ability. So we're going to have to just use a little workaround. So pull a set node on. I've got a little set node I've configured here. You could just pull a set node on, any set node you want. And then just on the right-hand side here, I've got one going, but you're going to hit this little trigger icon. Yours will probably be blank, but just go ahead and delete any information that might be in there. And now we're just going to paste in the data we've just copied out of our execution. So we're giving sample data of what's coming in. And you can see here's that text message. Hi, Rob, how are you doing today? So I'm going to just save that. This is just so we can configure. This node now is acting like this node. When we take this live, we'll turn this off and we'll use this node instead. But for now, we're just using that node. All right. So let's now connect this up to a switch node. Let me disconnect this. Let me also deactivate this main node for now as well, just so it doesn't get in the way, because this is live messages might be coming in. So I'm using a switch node at the moment. And really, what is a switch node all about? A switch node is a node that is just basically a very fancy if node. So I'm just, I think I've accidentally added an extra one in here. So I'm using this switch node now. If you need a switch nodes, they're fairly straightforward. They're just a bunch of conditions, and the N8N will check these conditions and then route the data accordingly. So really what we want here, the most important thing here is this expression here, JSON payload.from, and that's this one here, JSON.from. That's what we want to have coming in. So any message from, if we wanted this to be a condition, this is coming in now from one of my business accounts. So let me go down to the bottom here and add a routing rule, add a condition. So I'm going to say check this variable. And if it comes from this particular account, from account, this is the number. We'll break this down in a moment. My N8N is hanging a little bit. There we go. So what do we got going on here? This here is the number that it's coming from. And then afterwards, we've got at c.us. That's what's being put there by the application, by our server. So that's always going to be the same. But it's basically saying if a message comes in, check if it's from this number. If it is from this number, route it down this angle, this particular line. So I'm just going to call this Billy, because that is the name of that test account I'm using. I'm going to call this Billy. And we'll see. There it is. So I'm just going to execute this step now. And what it's going to do is this switch node is going to look at and see if the from condition, if it matches to any one of these numbers. These are other people in my lives, but this is the one we want. And if it matches, it's going to go down the Billy branch. So let's go ahead and execute that. So there we've run it now, and as we can see, we've got some information coming out. It's gone down the branch of Billy. We can see that Billy, there's one item, and we've got our information coming through. So this is just how you can route things. Now, interesting, I want to show you, you can do this with groups as well. Let me go into here, and I'm going to show you that I have a group set up here. Here is the group set up. This is this here is a group called the 5 p.m. crew, and you'll notice here groups have this little G before the .us. The other ones have C. So that's contact versus group, and you'll see sometimes the number's got a slightly different format in it. I think I've got here's another group as well. You'll see the G, and this has got a different format. You'll just pick those up each time from the from section, and that way you can identify who the messages are coming in from. Super useful. That's what you want to be grouping every single time. This particular item under payload and the from option. That's just if you want to identify the number. Okay, so what can we do next from there? Well, actually, what we could do, let's just go and hook this directly up. You probably got this node on your screen already. This was the one we did earlier. It's just a Waha Trigger node to send a message back. So I'm just going to connect this one directly through to there. And this is a Waha, not Trigger, this is a Waha Action node. Okay, and I've got my credentials set up. I'm using my other server at the moment, so I've just swapped over the credentials for the rest of this video. And the session we want to pull in here is going to be, we need to look here, session default. So this we just want to swap out, and we want to grab, and you'll be doing this for blank because every session is called default. Remember, we're on the core version of here. The chat ID is going to be the from credential. You want to pull that in, and the reply to will be exactly the same. So we can use the same credential too. And here, the next section here is our text. So I'm just going to reply, I'm doing just great. Thank you. Now, obviously, we can bring in an expression here to have a dynamic text coming in, but for the testing purposes, I'm just going to do that. Let's go and send that. And I'm getting this, sometimes you get this error about connecting a trigger to run this node. There is actually a trigger attached. I just run it a second time, and invariably that sorts it out. And there we go. It seems to have sent successfully. Let's go back over to the WhatsApp, and there we go. We can see our answer coming back in. I'm doing just great. Thank you. So there it is. That actually is fundamentally, that's the basics. The rest now is over to you guys to run with it, but I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions, some examples of what we can do here. But what you've just been able to do is set up your WhatsApp open API server and connect it to N8N. You're able to catch messages and send messages. Now you can glue N8N into this and have the power of it. So that's what we've just done here. Okay, but maybe we want to run this through, let's take this out. Maybe we want to run this through an AI agent. So I've connected up an AI agent here. I'm sure you're familiar with AI agents. I'm not going to drive into that, but very briefly, you go into AI and you can grab an AI agent there. That's what I've done. I've connected to a tool. I've given it some simple memory so we could have an ongoing conversation with it. And let's have a look. This is super simple. I've given it the world's simplest prompt. Hi, you're Robin's personal WhatsApp assistant. Your job is to read incoming messages and formulate a reply as Robin's AI assistant. The reply will be sent back to the WhatsApp conversation, so it makes sense. So you can really do a power reply. I haven't got into this at all. What we have done here is take this away from being connected to Trigger, and I'm using the define below, and then I'm pulling in the the body here, the message that's come in. I'm dragging this in here, and then I have said, please give it in JSON format as an object called text. And then I have turned this on here, so we have a specific output, and I've added an output parser that's got just a basic JSON structure in it, as simple as it comes. So now I can go and connect this up to my node, and now what will happen is the AI, and let's actually run this, see if this will work. The AI is now going to error in subnode simple memory. Let's see what that's all about. Capture required data. Okay, we're just going to make this key a 1, and let's run this again. Let's run that again. Okay, so now it's busy running, and the AI agent is going to formulate a response, and it's going to pass that response over to our node here. And okay, here we have, we need to do some configuration here because this is coming out of, we're using this direct JSON message, which means it's referencing the previous node. We actually need to reference the original node. So first of all, let's open the AI agent section here. Going through this fast because I figure you guys are probably familiar with N8N. So that's what we want to put in here. Here in the switch node now, we just want to grab the session ID. Actually, we can get it from edit fields here. Session is going to be default, and we want to get the from stuff here. So we're just going to grab that, and we're going to grab the same again. Now that's configured. All right, and let's go and run this. Run it again. Having this weird bug with N8N now, even though I've got a trigger attached, it wants me to run it twice. So let's go back over and have a look here. And here we have a new message now from our AI. So we can have AI do things. Now, of course, you can give your AI a knowledge base. You can give it some guardrails. So it could do customer support. The mind boggles is what you could do here. Very, very simple. This is not obviously a real use case. You really want to kind of dive into that. But there we have an AI checked out. The other factor I thought we could do as well to inspire some thinking is we could connect it to an if node, which I've done here. And we could use the if node to look for a particular keyword. So that might be reply yes. You're going to have an automatic section going in and go reply yes if you want more information. So something like that. So, we've got a condition here. If the JSON payload body contains the word now. So, you know what? Let's say it contains the word how are you doing? How about the phrase, how are you doing? Let's go with that phrase. Now, of course, this is a contrived example. You're never going to have this thing. But what I'm trying to inspire you is to show you how you could use these keywords to identify intention and then be able to route the messaging to the correct actions within N8N that suit your use case in order to respond appropriately, either with a message back or to notify someone or write to a database or send an email or whatever the case may be. But let's run this quickly to see if this works. Again, there's my little struggle. Yes, it's gone down the true branch because, of course, this condition is true. And now that it's gone down the true branch, I could, connect this onto an agent to go and run it or do as anything you want. So that's what it's all about. I do have one little one here that I've kept off screen here that I don't want to share. It's a little private thing. So that's where this little line is running off to. I've got a couple of bugs with what I'm trying to do there. I won't mention any more, but if I do get that fixed up, I will show you. But for now, that's what's going on. So I haven't got power automations here in N8N to show you. I just want to unlock the possibility and unlock the creativity within yourself to take this and go further. Now, of course, you can use this to do bulk WhatsApp marketing as well, because you can just set up a database of messages and use this trigger node here, an action node like this one to go and send countless text messages. I would not suggest doing that because your number will be banned very, very quickly if people complain about you spamming them. So really use this in a transactional way, just like email marketing. Use it responsibly. Don't get banned, and have your IP for your N8N blacklisted and such like. So you just use this sensibly, use it for transactional activities, but super powerful. You don't need to be working with Meta AI, the Meta WhatsApp interface. We've actually done a lot of videos on that. If I come over to our channel here, we've done a lot of videos, many videos on connecting WhatsApp and N8N. And each time we've gone through the formal, correct meta API tools, which is cumbersome and tedious, but this process now circumvents all of that. As long as you use it responsibly, you'll have no problem. Love to know what you guys do with this. Please come and join us over in our community. Details down below. I'd love to see what you do. You guys expand on here. This workflow will be available for download within our community as well. You can go and grip it there along with these complete instructions. But of course, you can just take a screen grab or follow along with this video and work through these steps 1 to 9. This install command is on the screen right now. Copy it and it should be in the description of the video as well, if my editor remembers to put it there. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Good morning, good day, good night, good evening, wherever you are in the world when you're watching this. As always, thank you for spending time with me, and I will see you for next week's video. And I really hope to see you in the community. If you're starting out your N8N and AI and automation journey, we are the place to be. Love to catch you there. Until then, adios.